So, we are an international community, I know that, but, Althea, that is. But today is a day where we reflect on something that is both uniquely American and sadly universal. So on 9/11, 2001, I was working as the director of chaplaincy in a major hospital in Canada. And that was a profound moment to begin to understand these things and how they happen and how they affect people. Now, you might say, well, how does that affect a Canadian chaplain? But it's interesting that, so I know this happened in the morning. I was, going about my daily work. There was then a page over the intercom, and all the directors were called together in the head office. And I went, and we were told what was going on. And, of course, some of the executives had TVs playing in their offices. And because of the magnitude of what was going on, and if you remember, as this was unfolding and the second plane hit the second tower, no one knew what was next. I mean, what had already happened was horrific, but there was this colossal terror about, is this just the beginning of something? And so, what happens in the world of professional helpers, the rescue and the military and the hospital system, is you have to get ready for whatever might happen. So, believe it or not, here we were in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, the center of Canada, and we were beginning strategies and planning for receiving overflow patients from Toronto. And we were already making the plans to receive the patients that would be moved from Toronto to Winnipeg so Toronto could receive the excess casualties from New York. Thank God none of that happened. But what was so stunning was to witness how people responded. And you might reflect on how you responded, because we didn't all respond the same way. Life is a matter of perspective. What some people saw that day outraged them, because what they saw were seemingly heartless aggressors attacking our peace. That's what some people saw. They were filled with so much anger. How could they do that to us? And what followed quickly after, let's get them. They will pay. This will not stand. But other people, that wasn't what they saw that day. What they saw were victims. How was it for those people trapped on those planes? What was it like to be so terrified that you would jump out of a building to your death rather than face the fire consuming your office where you work and call your children? Some of us saw victims, thousands of victims, and many were paralyzed in the victim or in the memory or in the energy of that helplessness that we knew ourselves. And then there were those who saw heroes. The people who, as it said in the reading, who run into fires. The people who call the hospital and say, how can I help? How can I volunteer? What's going on? What do you need? The people that come together for something more than themselves without even regard for what might happen to them. That's what I remember when I look back. It's what I call heroes. Now, you may have different ideas of heroes, and you may think of Spider-Man and Indiana Jones and these sorts of movie heroes, but there are heroes in this world, and there are victims in this world, and there are aggressors in this world. And of course, the miracle of being human is that we are all simultaneously all three. All of us. I mean, here we are celebrating freedom on a land that didn't belong to us. Over 10 million Native American people killed, slaughtered in genocides so this nation could rise up. I'm not saying that to make anyone feel bad, but I'm saying that to put a twist to say we all have legacies of being victims. We all have legacies of hurting others. It's part of the human condition. We didn't ask for those things to happen. We didn't want those things to happen. We go back further. Where did you come from? England, Ireland, Germany, Russia, Colombia, Uruguay, Israel. Every one of us has ancestors in another part of the world that have been the victims of terror and that have perpetuated it. That's the sad drama of the human world. It's just this constant flow between, like a terrible battle in a playground, between who was hurt and who's going to get them back, and then who got hurt, and then who's going to get them back. And the only way it ends is when someone says, I'm going to stop playing the game of victim and aggressor, and I will become a hero. A hero, in my mind, means to seek the highest good possible regardless of the consequence to yourself. To seek the highest good possible. And I dare say that those soldiers and rescue workers that went in to help, I don't believe for a second that what they were feeling was anger. What they were doing was tending to the wound of the world. They were feeling compassion. Now, maybe anger came later. Maybe sadness came later. But in the moment of need, what arose was love. People going back in again and again into the rubble to make a difference, to save one more life. And that is how we change the world, change the legacy of our ancestors, change the legacies of our childhood. Because this tragedy is not just a reminder of what happens all over the world, but it's a reminder of what happens in each little life. And how many of us came through a home where there was terror. You don't have to put your hands up, but we know statistically it's probably at least half of us here, at least, that had a family member abused, that had a family member as a violent person, that had a family member as an addict who affected the whole home. And when you look back on that story, what do you see? Do you see the aggressor? What shouldn't have been done? What wasn't fair? Do you see the victim? And replay the story again and again. It shouldn't have been me. It shouldn't have been her. It wasn't fair. It shouldn't have happened. Or do you, knowing all that, and that there is something more to you than your story, do you begin to choose something else? To be a hero in your own story? As I was sort of immersing myself in this whole memory and doing some reading, One of the things that captured my attention was this conversation you can see on the internet and the news about the legacy, what followed. And what strikes me is the number of children 15 years later that are now speaking out and saying, I may have lost my mother, I may have lost my father, I may have lost my best friend, but I am living proof that life goes on. I am living proof that we can begin again, that we can make changes, that we can endure. Resilience. I am not going to be defined by that terrible experience. It was terrible. We did cry. We will cry again. It wasn't fair what happened to me, to you, to my neighbor. But what I know is that there's something in me that's greater than anything that's ever been done to me. And I can choose to live from that place. And this is an interesting lesson going forward. Because, and you hear this a lot, fear is really what that act was all about. Planting fear in the heart of a strong people. So who wins? Who wins when you let the fear infect you? When you become racist because of it, when you become xenophobic because of it, when you become punitive because of it, who wins? They do. Because that's all they wanted. They just wanted you to be terrified of them. And if you spend the rest of your life living fearfully of the people that hurt you, the situations that were unfair, then you are letting them continue to win. You are letting them continue to victimize you today. And I'm not talking about 9/11, right? I'm talking about our homes and our schools and our neighborhoods. We have to take time in life, as it was said in the reading, the beautiful reading. We have to have those dark nights. We have to share those tears. But then we have to rise up, or at least we have the choice, and look forward. Look to the morning. Look to the light. Remember who we really are. That's what this community is about, I believe. It's about remembering that we are more than our stories. We are more than where we come from. We are more than what we have. We are Spirit. Many as one, one as many. And in that awareness, we can find the courage and the strength to wake up today and say, I don't need to be an aggressor anymore, angry and hurt by what happened to me. I don't need to be a victim anymore, wounded and afraid of what happened to me. Today, I choose to be a hero to someone. Maybe it's someone here. Maybe it's someone you're going to talk to over lunch. Maybe it's someone you're going to pass on the street. Maybe it's a family member that you just can't reach out to. And today you say, I will be bigger than my wounds, and I will make the call, and I will apologize, or I will tell them that I still love them. That's heroic. That's heroic. It's doing what needs to be done before it's too late, with courage, with love, and with the identity of spirit, that which is indestructible. And that is actually an incredibly joyful note to end on, because it means that there's always something to celebrate ahead. It means that all this stuff we spend so much energy trying to fix, it's fine if you need something to do. But we can also just get up and get on with it and be grateful and be thankful and celebrate every moment possible, all the peace we have, all the love we have, all the health we have, even if it's imperfect. We can embrace that. And from that strength, build more strength. And in that, our vision is changed. And we see the beauty and the perfection and the possibility and the wonder of this incredible, beautiful world.